That's it. I'm done.
We are Ham Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Freddie Mac, your ham radio crusader. And what do I mean by I'm done? Well, I'll tell you. I'm done reviewing the Tidradio TD-H8. They've sent me the ham version. They've sent me the GMRS version. They do have different firmwares. And ironically enough, their DTMF may work after all. I had some issues with their number 3, their number 6, the letter A, on the Blue Box app that I was using on the iPhone, and the my home All-Star node, which uses the TYT TH9000D mobile radio. And then I used the Tidradio TD-H8 GMRS version on another repeater. And then I built a new node for a friend out of an 𝐓𝐲 F121 using the same card, sound card by Techno by George, the ARA1 Plus. And the DTMFs worked. So that can only lead me to believe that the TYT TH9000D may not interpret those DTMF tones as clearly or as well as the 𝐓𝐲 F121 does. Don't know. But the 𝐓𝐲 F121 recognized every button, every key, A, B, C, and D, 1 through 0, or 0 through 9, however you want to put it, the pound and the star perfectly. Don't get me wrong, I was very excited about that. The TYT TH9000D is a cheap Chinese radio. Don't get me wrong. It's better than some, but it's not. It's mediocre at best because the price is right. 𝐓𝐲's commercial version that's wide banded by license, by FCC ID, is a superior radio. It just seems to be interpreting the DTMF tones correctly. So we'll leave it at that. The Tidradio GMRS version, it has firmware version GMRS_221026. They've sent me a new firmware version that I'm going to upgrade, and we're going to test it here in just a little while. For GMRS, this is an excellent radio. Now, I can't speak to spectral purity. You'll have to refer to some other videos for that. I don't have a spectrum analyzer of any sort, but a friend of mine put a GMRS repeater up as the crow flies. Yeah, it's 10, probably 25 miles away. I'll put the correct amount here on the screen. He's at about 720 feet above sea level, and then another 50 feet probably for the height of the antenna for the repeater. You can't hear a squelch tail because there isn't one, but I can hit it from here. I can talk on it from here. There's some white noise in the background on a walkie, but I can hit it from here. And this thing is hearing that repeater, almost everything it says. Now there are some dead spots because this antenna is what it is, but I put better antennas on it, and it improved immensely, especially the signal stick from Signal Stuff. I'm saying that right. That's a superior antenna. So the long and the short of it, folks, for GMRS, this is a very good handheld. The audio is excellent. I love the audio clarity. I'm hard of hearing. Not horribly. I don't need hearing aids or nothing like that, but you know, I'm getting older. I've shot a firearm most of my life, and not always with ear protection, and I don't recommend that, but my hearing has degraded because of it. I can hear this thing, and I can hear it well. Color screen is superior. The dual watch receive, it's not simultaneous dual receive. You can only hear one at a time, but it picks up on it pretty good. Doesn't do airband, which that's not a deal killer for me, but it does do FM broadcast receive, which is handy in a pinch. The light on the top is not bad at all. It's got a good brightness, plus the blinking, don't get me wrong. It's a neato mosquito. It's not something I use every day. Having the FM radio on here, it's a nice little feature to have, because you never know when you're going to need to listen to broadcast radio. I know it probably would be cost prohibitive for the manufacturers to do, but I like a little AM broadcast in there as well. The programmability is superior because you've got the Bluetooth option with your phone app, right to the phone or right to the radio. I can program this radio quicker than any radio I have. As long as I've got my phone with me, I can program this radio. If I have the ham version, I can program it right away. Don't get me wrong, I probably won't use transmit on the ham version. They make a great receiver if I just need to receive. Its spectral purity is questionable in the ham bands. Seems to improve greatly on GMRS from what I've seen on the YouTube channels out there. But the battery life is okay. Now this GMRS version they sent me has no USB-C. They said they were going to send me one. They didn't do it. Not to date. And I'll put the date here on the screen. Why they didn't do that, I don't know, but they wanted me to include that in the description. I will not, since I didn't get one. I received one from the last radio that I got, but that battery is on that radio, and I wanted to evaluate this radio for its merits as it was sent to me. And I'll have some more video as far as the power output and things like that here in a little bit. So, but my summary is this. If you need a good GMRS handheld radio, this Tidradio TD-H8 is a decent choice. The price is right. Just make sure you follow the rules, stay inside your bands as you're licensed for. It's all this world asks, is follow the rules. Get along with one another and do the right thing. I give you the Tidradio TD-H8 GMRS handheld. You can't go wrong for GMRS. Just taking a walk out in the yard this morning too, and just wanted to show you guys the Tidradio TD-H8 again and see if we could hit a repeater that is even further away than the repeater I mentioned earlier. It's up in Mounds, Oklahoma, which is about this many miles away. And let's see if we can hit it. That's quite a ways off, and this little radio can hear it. Like I said, for GMRS, this ain't a bad choice. Ain't bad at all for the money. Don't get me wrong, there are other GMRS radios that I would recommend as well. But the Tidradio TD-H8 does really good on GMRS. So, there's that. Let's try it once more, shall we? It's not even breaking. Other than there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a almost 10 watt radio. Okay folks, this is the Tidradio TD-H8 GMRS version, Generation 2, I've been told. And we're going to do some power tests. So we've got the meter set on 20 watts. And we're going to try it at 467.662 on low power. So let's see what happens. Looks like we're getting not quite a watt, maybe 3/4 of a watt. So let's change that power output. And hey, they've got the firmware right. And since it's on GMRS and non-repeater channel, you can't change the power levels. So it's going to be on low no matter what. So you're only going to get about 3/4 of a watt. So it is low power GMRS.
13, 14,
Let's go to a repeater
15,
channel.
17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20,
We've got one in here. There we go. One nearby in Mounds. Let's see if we can change the power output. It is on high power. Meter set at 20 watts, and we'll hit it on high power. And we're getting about 9 watts. This is advertised as a 10-watt radio, and this is 467.650 megahertz at high power. So let's switch it to low power. And yep, right back to about 3/4 of a watt. So this radio cannot be transmitted on VHF, just UHF. So there you have it, the Tidradio TD-H8 GMRS version 2, and I will show you the firmware version that it's presenting. It's called GMRS_221026. Okay, everybody, if you go to 𝐓𝐲𝐸-𝐂software.com and navigate to software and scroll down to the Tidradio, the TD-H8 ham DTMF 369 pound. Those are the keys I had trouble with at first. Turned out to be 36 and A. Anyway, click on that. Go down here to the download. In your version, it'll say the whole word download. I got the screen enlarged so you can see it better. It's going to ask for a username and password. Use the email address. You can create your own account if you want to, but they gave this one to me so I didn't have to. If you go to Bushhound, BUSHOUND@gmail.com, and use a password of 1234. That's 123456. And you hit login, it logs you in. Then you can click on download again, and you can download the software, put it anywhere you want. I've already done that, and I've already done the upgrade, so I don't need to do that. But there's complete, clear instructions, believe it or not, in that package so that you can upgrade the firmware. All you need is a programming cable to do it. I used my Aubrey AR730 programming cable. You can use a Baofeng, something that's got a K-type plug on it for the side of the radio. It'll do it just fine. Okay, as you can see from this picture, these are my two Tidradio TD-H8s. One is the ham version, unlocked, and the other one is just the ham version. One I purchased off of Amazon, and the other was sent to me to review because it was a Gen 2 and it has a C-type battery. That was the only difference I could find at the time because both of them had the same firmware version. So when I did the firmware upgrade on my TD-H8 GMRS version radio, I went ahead and used that same package on my TD-H8 ham unlocked version, and it upgraded it, as you can see here, to a higher version. And I tested the DTMF on it, and well, I'll let you be the judge. This is the ham version of the TD-H8, and we've upgraded it to version 230817. This is the new firmware version. You can see that all right. We're going to perform our All-Star Link node tests again, and we're going to try to connect to another node.
Node 57788 connected to node 58176.
And let's disconnect.
Node 57788 disconnected.
What do you know? The DTMF firmware upgrade worked. Thank you, Tidradio, for doing that. Now I can keep my TYT TH9000D, or can I just upgrade it to an ICOM? Future video, you'll find out. Okay, I've upgraded the firmware. The new GMRS version is GMRS_230817. How well you can see that, I just hope and pray that you can.
because I'm doing a balancing act. But I got some very surprising results. I mean, pleasing. I can just get everything into frame. Let's key up. We're on GMRS channel 10. Simplex. Almost everything doubled. I must be holding the keys too long. Didn't do this a minute ago. Of course, it never does it wrong off camera, only on. See if I can do this faster. All of them hits. It's just doubling sometimes. It didn't do this a minute ago. Yeah, and I hit the 1 and the 4. My fingers are fat, y'all. This app cannot be perfect. It's recognizing the 3, 6, and A key. See, look at that, just perfect. I think there's an issue with this app. But my point here is this. The firmware upgrade worked. And I don't know if you can tell it or not, but the clarity of the tones, of the DTMF tones, seem richer, seem more clear. The purity of the sound of the DTMF tones sound so much more richer than they did before. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But I believe they have it fixed. I'm going to call it good. GMRS version of the Tidradio TD-H8, spot on. Worth the money. And it's a good GMRS radio. Firmware is right on. You cannot transmit or raise the power on the simplex channels, and on the repeater channels you get a little more power. Get about 9 watts, and about 3/4 of a watt on the non-repeater channels. We call it simplex. So check it out, y'all. The Tidradio TD-H8 color screen. Get it on Amazon. Okay, and I'm back. This is WRUT 923. Do you copy?
This is WRWZ 428. Yes, Fred, I copy you just fine.
WRWZ 428, thank you for the 𝐓𝐲, if it's properly to say so on GMRS, I'm not sure. Thank you for the conversation. This is WRUT 923 signing off. Thank you.
Anytime.
I did the firmware upgrade. I'll show it to you. Can you see that? GMRS 230-817. Yeah. Worked. It worked, my friends. Since it's a little later in the day, I have my coffee and ham radios cup from Arctic and coffee and ham radios. Thanks, Steve, Jim, Ape, and Chuck. Sorry, I'm old. This is a great cup, but I'm switched to water. This thing keeps it cold all day long. Don't try to take this lid off with this down, because the amount of suction that's on there, it'll never happen. Not with these hands. And since I'm old and infirm, I had to have one of these. And unfortunately, it covers up the logo perfectly. Oh well, it's still a better cup than I have ever had. So, thanks for that, guys. All right. The Tidradio TD-H8 with the new firmware, holy smokes. Don't get me wrong, it didn't boost the wattage. Not that I wanted it to, because I didn't. I wanted the DTMFs to work, and they did. And you've seen the 𝐓𝐲 that I made with my buddy Gary. And I'm I'm impressed. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a great radio for 2 meter 70 centimeter ham radio. That's not my opinion. My opinion is GMRS. This is a very nice radio, well worth the price. It is a bargain for the amount of power that you get out of it. You get a really good battery, but I didn't get the USB-C like they said I would. We'll see. I'll give you an update if I ever do get one. I would appreciate one because they're much easier to charge. But FM radio is great. 2 meter 70 centimeter receive is great. And the GMRS on there is great. The app programming is beautiful. So once again, I give you the new version, the Generation 2, newest firmware as of August 18th, 2023. The Tidradio TD-H8 GMRS version. Go out and get one whenever you want to. I'm not here to sell it to you folks. I'm here to tell you my experience with it. So this is Freddie Mac, your ham radio crusader and GMRS operator, WRUT 923, ham radio operator, KD5FMU, wishing you 7 threes. And may all the good signals be yours. Ham on, y'all.